welcome to the live class. So today is the live class which we have for our logical reasoning. So logical reasoning is the live class which you'll be having, and please ensure that all of you are having your notebook and pen, because logical reasoning is all about working out different interesting problems. So the teacher for logical reasoning is Vishwas sir. First, I would like to introduce Vishwas sir. Hello Vishwas, welcome to the live class.
Hello, look, thank you.
Yeah, so that's nice to have you over here. So before we go ahead, we have a quiz. We have a quiz of our current affairs, which we have put in the description. You can take that quiz and I'll also discuss the answers a little later relating to that quiz. So we have quite a few people joining in. So many people are asking, sir, how from 8th June the classes would be morning session or would it be better? Yeah, we'll be doing based on the maximum number of students what they prefer, and that is the advantage when you join the paid classes. So just as a quick reminder, if you're coming here first time, we are doing an entire week's class which is for CSEET. We finished on Monday my subject, that is legal aptitude. Then we did economics with Ramcharan sir on Tuesday. Then Wednesday we had Viva was with Ponnamma ma'am. Then Thursday, yesterday was very interesting current affairs. Today we have Vishwas sir with logical reasoning. Then tomorrow we have Madhuri ma'am with English. Then Sunday I meet you again with legal aptitude. So for one whole week, we have free classes on YouTube and we are getting very good response from all of you. But from the next week, this will be live classes again, but it is for a select group of people who have paid. And for you guys, we have a very great offer where there is 75% off. You get the entire course for virtually free. Because of the kind of situation that prevails, we are charging just 4,000 rupees with the promo code. You need to use the promo code now 2000. That time you will be able to purchase this at a very, very discounted price. Now, when some of you told us, they're telling already there are so many free classes out there, even institute is giving free classes, why should we buy this Ekcel Academy classes? See, let me just tell you, first thing is not only we have live, we'll have the recorded classes. Then the classes which are live will be recorded and we have it on our app and website. Then we have MCQs, we have quizzes, we have hand-holding. So we are not just selling you a course, but we are making you part of our community. So once you become part of our Ekcel Academy community, you will be able to prepare very well. And you have already seen the quality of teachers which we have and how unique they are. So Sunday is the last class which is free and live. So ensure that by Sunday you are registering and make sure you don't pay 16,000. Just pay 4,000 by Sunday and join us for the CSEET live classes. All the links are in the description. So now I would first ask Vishwas sir, who has actually already made an introductory video. If you saw that video, please comment yes. If you saw the video, please comment yes. Vishwas sir made an introductory video about what is logical reasoning yesterday. You can watch that video, but still let us hear it from him live about what is this subject and what is covered in this logical reasoning. Okay, some people are saying yes. Okay. Yes, Vishwas, if you can give us an overview.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. So if you already watched the video, you would by now know that logical reasoning is one of the new subjects or topics rather, which has been introduced by the CS Institute with regard to the CSEET program. And it is one of the best things which the Institute has done in a long time, because this is something which is useful not only for CS students, only for this course, but even after you clear the CS course. See, logical reasoning, as the name itself says, is completely dependent on logic. So what is logic? Logic is nothing but reasoning. So if you apply the reasoning, or if you have a rational mind, then you can easily work out the problems based on logical reasoning, not only in this paper, but also in life in general. So this is about the logical reasoning as such. But when it comes to the syllabus as such, we have three different divisions in logical reasoning itself. One is the logical reasoning, then we have verbal reasoning, and finally we have non-verbal reasoning. So all the three topics or subdivisions in total together comprise of this logical reasoning topic. So if you look at the video once again, I have already gone through the definition of logical reasoning, which is given in the material. So they have adopted a definition given by one Miss Alison Doyle. So that is one of the best definitions of logical reasoning. We will once again go through the same when we start the class now. So apart from that, this is pretty much common sense. That is what I would say. If that is there, then it's not very difficult to crack the subject.
Yeah, I think the Vishwas sir has given a very brief overview. Now, before I let the class open to Vishwas sir, we'll quickly go for the current affairs quiz. So as I ask the question, you can even type the answer in the comments. Okay, so Ramcharan sir has prepared this quiz. Again, this quiz is fairly simple, just so that you are confident to take up much more challenging questions. And this kind of quizzes will keep you motivated to study every day. That is why every day we are giving you a quiz. Okay, so if you are ready, first question, IMF stands for, it's a complete easy one. IMF stands for what? International Monetary Fund. Okay, so some people are also commenting. Very good. Next, in BRICS, S stands for what? In BRICS, S stands for what? BRICS. S is for South Africa, right? Okay. Third question, expand ASEAN. Please expand ASEAN. So, okay, South Africa, many people are commenting. That's very nice to know. Third question, expand ASEAN. Association of Southeastern Nations. Asian nations. Okay. Okay. Association of Southeast Asian Nations. ASEAN. Okay. Very good. Next, we have how many member nations are there in IMF? How many member nations are there in IMF? This is a number. Unfortunately, they do ask these kind of questions. Sometimes you need to know the numbers. So how many member nations are there in IMF? 189. Very good. Some people have got it. Very good. Then, which country is the president of BRICS right now? Who is the president of BRICS right now? BRICS president. Who is the president of BRICS right now? It's a revolving presidency. So who is the president right now? China. Very good. Very good. All of you are getting that. Nice. In which country the last G20 summit was organized? In which country last G20 summit was organized? Nice to see so many of you participating. I really like your energy. Great. Yes, Japan. Very good. Excellent. Next, we have in which year BIMSTEC was created? I think some of you might have been born in that year also. I don't know. Or most of you are not even born. I think all of you are very young. So most of you are not born in that year. Which 1997. Very good. Nidhi got it. Preeti, Lekana Raj. Okay, very good. Next, we have the Secretariat of SAARC is in. The Secretariat of SAARC is in dash. Which place? Secretariat of SAARC. Oh, Chaitali Power, full date she is telling 16 June 97. Very good. Kathmandu, Nepal. Very good. Nidhi is getting Lekana, Nachiket Hegde, Susan, Shalini. Very good. Excellent. Very good. Then we have in which state of India BRIC Summit was organized? Which state of India BRIC Summit was organized? Which state of India BRIC Summit was organized? In which state of India BRIC Summit? Yeah, Lekana Raj, Goa. What a nice place to organize BRIC Summit. You can just have your good time in Goa, right? Then last question. From which trade bloc India decided to stay out? From which trade bloc India decided, no, we don't want to be part of this trade bloc. Thank you. but no thanks. Thanks, but no thanks. India told for which trading block? RCEP, very good. Okay. Nidhi, Rishika, Preeti, Lekana, Racho, Susan. Okay. Many people have got it right. Excellent. That's really nice to know. So that was the short quiz which we had. And now we can go back to the class where before I go, a couple of quick announcements. So first one is we have what is this logical reasoning. We have a video, so please make sure that you see that video. Then also please make sure that you're enrolling for the classes. 1 second. Yeah, so please make sure that you're enrolling for the classes. I've shared the link, it is also there in the description. We don't want you to miss this opportunity. Not only doing well in July exam, but you're also going to get a huge financial benefit by the huge scholarship or discount which we are offering if you complete this purchase by Sunday, because after Sunday all the classes are paid. Till then it will be free. So please make sure you don't miss this opportunity and enroll for the CSEET Ekcel Academy live classes, where teachers will be hand holding you and making sure you do very well in the entire exam. So how many of you here have already registered? Please let us know in the comments. Just say I will know how many people have already registered over here. If you already registered for the paid classes, just press like I. So if you registered, we'll get an idea. So some of you have registered who are, I can see some familiar names over here. Yeah, A, Nidhi, Preeti, Shanta. Okay, Narayan Hari. Okay, quite a few of you have registered. Shanta, okay, Sudarshan. Great, Roshni. Nice, but there are a huge number. Susan, Asha, Nachiket. Okay, quite a few of them have registered, but we would invite the others because we want you to get all the benefits and make sure that you do very well. And why we are pushing you is because Sunday is the last. After that, we don't want you to pay 16,000 and asking your parents to pay a huge sum. We want you to come at a very affordable cost, right? So I think I've said a lot about this, but it's my duty to tell. Now what we'll do is we'll go to the actual subject of logical reasoning, and I'll be meeting you guys on Sunday for legal aptitude, and tomorrow again with Madhuri ma'am for English. So now over to Vishwas. So Vishwas, you can start the class. I'll be taking leave right now.
Okay, thank you, Alok, for that introduction. And I'll be switching over to the screen view so that it's easy for me to share the PPTs. Let me just do that right away.
Yeah. So again, just before I leave, all of you make sure you have notebook and pen. And now you'll be having screen view, and Vishwas sir will be discussing all the problems. You can't see him, but you can see the screen, right? Okay, see you guys. Have fun.
Okay, I guess the screen is on. Yes. Okay. Let us start with the definition itself. This is for those who have not watched the video. Let me just reiterate from the definition, which is already there in the reference material. By the way, one thing about the CSEET program, we do not have any study material as such. What we have is a reference material. So we have the syllabus, of course, thankfully. So this is in fact the syllabus of logical reasoning. If you look at this, this is part B, logical reasoning. This is only for 25 marks. The remaining 25 marks is for legal aptitude and reasoning. So in logical reasoning itself, we have three divisions here: logical reasoning, verbal reasoning, and finally non-verbal reasoning. So here, logical reasoning once again has been divided into several subtopics like calendars, cause and effect reasoning, clocks, etc. Likewise, even for verbal reasoning, there are various subdivisions. And finally, for non-verbal reasoning also, we have various subdivisions. So this is the general syllabus which the institute has given to us. Now, based on this, we will have to prepare for all of these topics. So there is no study material as such as it used to be earlier. In fact, if you look at CS Foundation or executive or a professional, we have the study material where we say you read the study material, that should be more or less sufficient. Whereas here, it isn't the case. We have to, in fact, the subject is so vast that it makes no sense to, in fact, give the study material. But thankfully for us, the institute has released the reference material, wherein we look at it and we refer to it to get a general idea as to what the institute might expect from us students. So let us straight away jump into the definition of logical reasoning. In fact, there is no definition as such. Let us get a brief idea as to what exactly this logical reasoning is. We'll start with this statement by Alison Doyle. In fact, straight away we see a mistake here by the institute. This is Alison Doyle and not Doyle Allison, and this is a she, and in fact this is a woman, not a man. In the contemporary perspective, Doyle Allison, in her article The Importance of Logical Thinking in the Workplace, stated that logical thinkers observe, analyze phenomena, reactions, and feedback, and then draw conclusions based on those inputs. So now we do not come to conclusion without observing and analyzing. So you may say that my gut feeling says that I have to do this, I have to take up this course. No, such things will not work out in case of logical reasoning or with logical thinkers. So we all should, in my view, should aspire to be logical thinkers, wherein we do not jump into any conclusions or any decisions without actually observing and analyzing the situation on hand. So what all is that we observe? We observe the phenomena, we observe the reactions, we take the feedback, and then based on all these, we finally come to some conclusion. So this is the core or the essence of logical reasoning. So of course, we can look at various other definitions as well, but we can start with this definition as the basis for the entire topic of logical reasoning. So when it comes to the syllabus or the study material or the questions, everything will be based on logic here. You will have to apply your rational mind and then understand what is the situation which is given and how do we apply the logic and then select it. And as such, as much as you study about logical reasoning, it is not only good for this exam, but also for life in general. So let me just see the chat here. Vishnu Priya Jawahar says he can't see anything. He or she, I'm not so sure. Is that the case with others as well? Can you not see the screen? Let me know if the screen is not visible so that I can change the settings. As far as I know, the screen is visible. So please do let me know about that. Okay. So this is about the word logic. Let us move ahead. So now what about this? Okay, we have the confirmation that screen is visible. Thank you for the confirmation, guys. So now that we know that logic or the word logos is derived from Greek, is it the case that we didn't have logical reasoning before the Greeks? Was it only the Greeks who founded logical reasoning, or before that we didn't have anything to do with logical reasoning? Definitely not. Of course, Aristotle, one of the most famous philosophers, logicians, he was the one who kind of improvised it, but he was not the first person to come out with the concept of logical reasoning. In fact, if you look at ancient history of our country, or even the Buddhism, you can see logic throughout its scriptures. Okay. So let us start with this statement. This is a very interesting statement which I found in the study material. It goes like this. It's not like math, but applied to sentences rather than numbers. It's a very interesting sentence which tells us what exactly this topic is all about. Once again, it's a lot like math. So in math, what is that we have? We have fixed rules, like for example, 1 + 1 should be 2, or 2 + 2 should be 4, something of this sort. That cannot be negated at all, because that is something which has been proven. Same thing is applied here as well, but not for numbers, but for sentences. But the thing which is very important here is they say it's lot like math. They do not say it is exactly like math. It is not same as math. It cannot be same as math. If it is same as math, then it will be mathematics, of course, right? So here, more or less the principles which is applicable for mathematics is also applicable here, but it is not exactly the same. Okay, so let us look at a few of the things which is there already in the maths, which you might have already be familiar with, that is axioms and postulates. See, this is something which would have learned in geometry. So where we say if A equals B and B equals C, then it is very easily concluded that A should also equal to C. So these are the Euclid principles which you would have studied. Again, this is also based on logic, wherein we say if one subject or one particular item is equal to one another item, and that other item is equal to something else, then this something else, that is C, should also be equal to A. So this is one of the basic logical statements which you can think of. But logic is not just that. As I said, this is part of mathematics, wherein maths has various limitations, whereas in case of language or whereas in case of sentences, there are no limitations. Sometimes things transcends logic. So this is the axiom which we just now discussed. Then let us read this definition. In fact, the axiom, which says things are equal to one another if those things are equal to the same thing. So if A equal to C, then A equal to B, then C is also equals to B. Once again, if A equals to C and A equals to B, then C will also be equal to B. Okay, so that is about it. Now let us read this statement, which is really very interesting. And once again, I have borrowed this from the reference material of the institute, which says logical reasoning, or the word logic, is one of the fundamental skills of effective thinking. It works by raising questions like, if this is true, what else must be true? If this is true, what else is probably true? If this isn't true, what else can't be true? If you understand these three topics or these three sentences, then you can easily understand logical reasoning. Once again, if a statement, let us say, if a statement is true, then what other statement should also be true? If this statement is true, then which other statement is also probably true? If this statement isn't true, then what else is also not true? So for example, let us take an example, then we'll be able to understand better. Let's say it is cloudy. So if it is cloudy, this is a statement. What else might be true? It might also be the case, it might be raining. Okay, so if it is true, this might also be true. It is sunny. So when I say it is sunny, this might not be the case. If it is sunny, we can say the cloud, or rather the sky, is clear. Okay, once again, we'll go back to this statements. If this is true, what else must be true? For example, if it is cloudy, it might rain. If it is sunny, the sky might be clear. So this is a very elementary example based on logical reasoning. Let us proceed towards a few other examples wherein you cannot come to any fixed conclusion. This is a classic example which is often quoted when it comes to logical reasoning. If there is someone at the door, the dog will bark. There is a dog, there is a house, and there is a door. What does the dog do? If someone is at the door, the dog will bark. Now this is a statement. This is very simple, straightforward statement. Now based on this statement, can we come to few conclusions? Let us see how we can come to few conclusions. So once again, we'll have to take the help of those principles. If this isn't true, what else can't be true? Which is not true here? That is dog not barking. If the dog is not barking, then we can assume that there is no one at the door. Once again, what is the statement? The initial statement goes like this: if there is someone at the door, the dog will bark. This is the basis, this is the foundation for our statement. So based on this, we'll have to come to various conclusions. So the second principle here is, if this isn't true, okay, in that case, what is not true? If the dog didn't bark, then we can perhaps say there is no one at the door. This is again based on logical reasoning concept, wherein we say one follows the another. Okay. As once again, I'll have to remind you, it's a lot like math, but applied to sentences rather than numbers. So here it is like mathematics. If A equals B and B is also equal to C, then maybe A is, in fact, in case of maths, not even maybe, A equals C. Whereas here we cannot arrive at such strict conclusions. We will see how. So let us see. Can we say, if the dog barks, there is someone at the door? So can you answer this? We have already looked at the first basic condition, which is that if there is someone at the door, the dog will definitely bark. This is the basic condition. But based on that, can you say, if the dog is barking, there is someone at the door? Yes or no? All you have to do is just type yes or no. That's it. So think and answer. Okay, Vishnu says yes. Rishika says yes. Okay. Okay. Okay, fine. So there are very interesting answers here. We have various yes, few no's, and there is one might be as well. As I said, in fact, all of you might be right in this case, because this is not math and this is in fact logical reasoning. Generally, what do we say? If someone is at door, the dog will bark. But if the dog is barking, does it necessarily mean that there is someone at the door? Might be yes, probably yes. Okay, but need not always be yes. So that should be your answer. Okay, we cannot say yes or no, definitely. Probably yes, definitely, because if dog is barking, we will generally say, okay, maybe someone is at the door. Okay, but can you very clear-cutly say, with a clear-cut way, can you say that there is someone at the door? Definitely not. Maybe the dog has seen someone on street, some stranger on the street, and the dog has barked. So that possibility is also there. Therefore, you have to remember that in case of logical reasoning, though it is very much like math, it is not exactly the mathematics. Okay, the principles of mathematics is involved, but it is not definitely maths. Okay, so just because the dog is barking, there need not be someone at door. Even if someone is at the door, doesn't mean that the dog should bark. So will you agree with this statement, the statement which I have circled now? If someone is at the door, the dog need not bark. Is that the case? Can you say so? Why would the dog do so in that case? Generally we say, if there is someone at the door, the dog will bark. And now we also looked at another thing wherein we said, just because the dog is barking, there need not be someone at the door. Now we are taking the opposite situation wherein we say there is someone at the door. Okay, there is already some person at the door. But should the dog bark? Can we say dog does not bark or the dog is not barking? Of course, there are various possibilities, but one interesting answer which I find here is that of Nachiket Hegde. He says that person may be familiar with the dog. Exactly. So Sharon has also said the same thing. Very good. So in this case, what we can infer is, if there is someone at the door and the dog is not barking, then definitely, or maybe we can infer that the dog is familiar with the person. Maybe it's family, or maybe it is someone who is known to the family. In that case, the dog is not barking. And Preeti has come up with the most interesting answer. She says the dog might be sleeping. Of course, not a very efficient dog, but still that is also a possibility. So as you can see from this one single example, logical reasoning is not something which can be compartmentalized. You cannot say this is it. So here you have to be doubly careful when you are attempting questions in the exam, because if the options are removed, 4 students will come out with 4 different answers. So all you have to do is always look at the options. What are the options which are given in the question? So based on those options, you'll have to select the right answer. Okay. Now, this is something which is really very interesting. I was searching on logical reasoning a lot, and this is something which is also mentioned very briefly in the study material or the reference material. But if you are interested, I would suggest please look it up on the net. This is a very interesting concept. You will have to probably not have to, but at least if you are interested, you should definitely read this. There is something known as Chatushkoti. This Chatushkoti is a concept which existed in Buddhism, and much before that, many centuries ago, it also existed in Vedas, more specifically Rig Veda. So in Western philosophy, they only look at 2 things, either this or that. Especially when you look at Aristotle's logic, it is always like that. If this is happening, maybe this is not happening. And if this is not happening, maybe this has happened. So that is how they look at it. But in case of Chatushkoti, it is not the case. So this is the diagram which encompasses the principles of Chatushkoti. It starts with this. Either it can be true or it can be false. But they go further and say it can be true and false. And finally, there is one more which says it can neither be true nor be false. As I said, this is a very vast topic, that is the Chatushkoti. There are thousands of pages written on Chatushkoti. If you are interested, I would suggest please look it up. Very interesting topic, definitely related to logical reasoning and beyond. Okay, so I thought I would just mention this because many people think that logical reasoning started with Greeks because the word itself is derived from the Greek word and Aristotle made it famous. But it existed even before that, and it existed in our own land. Okay. Now, when it comes to logical reasoning, we have 2 different types of reasoning. One is the deductive reasoning, the other is the inductive reasoning. So let us see what is this deductive and inductive reasoning. These are the 2 different branches of logical reasoning. So now what is deductive reasoning? It is the ability to draw some logical conclusions from known statements or premises or evidences. Okay, so once again, deductive reasoning, you would have heard of this deductions, theory of deductions, especially with Sherlock Holmes, though he is usually known for inductive reasoning. Now, when it comes to deductive reasoning, they say it is the ability to draw some logical conclusion from known statements. That means you should already be aware of something which is in existence. Based on that, you will come to some conclusion. Now let us look at 3 different sentences here and try to understand how exactly this deductive reasoning works. Now the first sentence here says, all men are mortal. Okay, this is something which we have to accept. This is already proved. One or the other day, we all have to die. And there is one person, Amar, and he is a man. Okay, all men are mortal is a known statement here. And there is one more statement wherein we say Amar is a man. It could be A, B, C, whoever it is. And finally, there is another statement which says, therefore, Amar is mortal. So what type of reasoning is this? We first look at known statements or premises or evidences, and then based on that come to a conclusion. So what is the known statement here? The known statement here is all men are mortal. So if all men are mortal and if A is a man, can we say that A is mortal? Definitely yes. It is like our axioms wherein we say A equals B. Okay, then B equals C. Now can you say C equals A? Definitely yes. This is based on deductive reasoning. As I said, deductive reasoning has its limitations. Not always can it be applied in case of real life situations. Of course, it works out well every time in math. But as we have already seen, logical reasoning is a lot like math, but not exactly math. So based on the sentence, all men are mortal, we can definitely say Amar or A is also mortal. I hope you understood. If you have any doubts or anything, if you think that I'm fast, please do let me know. Anyway, moving further, we look at the next topic, which is deductive reasoning. So first type of logical reasoning is wherein we say it is based on sorry, this is the deductive reasoning. So next is the inductive reasoning. Sorry, I think yeah. Anyway, okay, this is just the explanation of the same thing which we discussed. So there is a premise, then we have second premise, and finally inference. So we have already discussed this with the example. I will just pass on to the next slide. Okay, premise was all men are mortal. Okay, this is the premise. Second premise here is A is a man. So then what is the inference or the conclusion? A is mortal. So if you apply these principles of deductive reasoning, you can easily crack questions based on logical reasoning, which is based on this type of reasoning. Now there is one more example. So deductive reasoning is not always correct, says this statement. Of course, yes, as I said, in real life situations, it may or may not happen so all the time. But in math, it will definitely happen. So there is one more example which says, supermarket employees wear t-shirts on Saturdays. Okay, someone is stating this. This is a premise here. What is the premise? Supermarket employees wear t-shirts on Saturdays. Now, what is the second premise here? Today is a Saturday. Okay. So finally, we are inferring here. Inferring based on what? Based on the premise and the second premise. What is that we are inferring here? Supermarket employees wear t-shirts today. Once again, we start with the premise, supermarket employees wear t-shirts on Saturdays. Today is a Saturday. And finally, we infer that supermarket employees wear t-shirts today. Very simple example of logical reasoning based on deductive logical reasoning. Next, this is in fact the interesting part of logical reasoning, that is inductive reasoning. So let us look at the definition first. Induction is our only way of predicting. It is only way of predicting. Once again, we start with the word predicting here. What will happen in the future? This is very interesting. In fact, it is much more interesting than the deductive reasoning. In case of inductive reasoning, we say we predict what will happen in the future. Can someone simply predict what will happen in the future? Definitely not. So what should we do? We should look at the way things are and the way things have been in the past. Okay. So now here itself, we are looking at various different things. First of all, we say inductive reasoning is a way of predicting. What? Predicting the future. But can we predict future just like that? No. So how do we predict? We look at the way things are. That means we look at the present. Okay. So we look at present as to way things are and the way things have been in the past. So based on this, we make an educated guess about what will probably happen. Okay. This is something which is far more interesting for us, not only in the exams, but also in real life. You look at the past, you observe the present, and based on those two, you make an educated guess as to what might happen in future. So once again, this has got nothing to do with math, because here we are observing things. We are opening our minds and looking at things logically, rationally, without applying our emotions. Emotions has no place in case of logic. So we are only looking at facts. What has happened in the past? What is happening in the present? So based on what has happened in the past and what is happening in the present, can we say this might happen in future? For example, take the present scenario itself. So what happened with COVID? What was the number of cases in the past? What is the number of cases in the present? So have they been steadily increasing? Yes, of course. Based on that, can you make a prediction? Of course, maybe yes. We can make an educated guess. Finally, we end up at that, wherein we say we can only make an educated guess and not any certain conclusion. There cannot be any definite conclusion. We can make an educated guess. That's all. So this is all about inductive reasoning. Let us look at an example, then it's easy for us to understand. Sudarshan Kalyani says the word educated guess sounds good. Yes, in fact, it is, because if you simply guess, if someone asks you, can you guess what might be the number of cases of COVID-19 in India after 1 week? If you simply say it is 3 lakhs, my next question would be, how is that you arrived at this figure of 3 lakhs? Did you look at the past? Are you looking at present? And then are you making an educated guess based on those two inferences for the future? If you are not doing this, then it will definitely be a simple, normal, random guess. But if you are actually looking at what has happened in the past, and if you are observing very keenly what is happening in the present, and then say, I think it might be 3 lakh, and then I would say it is an educated guess. Even then, it is an educated guess, because we cannot be certain. Because as I said, in real life, things are always not finite. It's not definite. Okay, there are various probabilities, possibilities, etc. Now let us read this example. The example goes like this. On Saturday, 2 weeks ago. Okay, now when we say 2 weeks ago, we are actually talking about the past here. On Saturday, 2 weeks ago, the supermarket employees were wearing t-shirts. Okay, someone has observed what has happened in the past. Okay, then again, last Saturday, they were wearing t-shirts. Okay, fine. So we have already observed what has happened in the past. 2 weeks ago, they were wearing t-shirts. Last week also, they were wearing t-shirts on Saturday. Now we come to the present, wherein we say today also, that is a Saturday, they are wearing t-shirts. Okay, so this is something which we can say is using the inductive reasoning, wherein we say we looked at the past, wherein we observed what happened 2 weeks ago, what is happening in the present, and then we can definitely make a guess. Can you now, based on these statements, make a guess as to what will happen the next Saturday? Once again, let me reiterate the statements here. On Saturday, 2 weeks ago, the supermarket employees were wearing t-shirts. Last Saturday also, they wore t-shirts. This Saturday also, they are wearing t-shirts. Based on this, can you predict future now? So meanwhile, let me just read the comment of Manoj. We can also predict future based on past and what is happening in the present. Of course, that is exactly what we are doing in case of inductive reasoning. We look at the past and then we are looking at the present and then predicting the future. So Vishnu Priya says t-shirt, they will wear t-shirts forever. Okay. And Nidhi says they will wear t-shirt next Saturday. Very good. In fact, that is the exact conclusion which we have to arrive at. So 2 weeks ago on Saturday, they were wearing t-shirts. Normally they wear shirts, but on Saturday, 2 weeks ago, they were wearing t-shirts. Last Saturday, they were wearing t-shirts. This Saturday also, they are wearing t-shirts. So based on this, we can easily say on all Saturdays, the supermarket employees wear t-shirts. So this is nothing but inductive reasoning. We do not go by one single statement. We go by what has happened in the past, what is happening in the present, and then what will happen in the future. And once again, this is not finite. It might be the case. Okay, there are situations where they may not wear t-shirts on Saturdays, but we can definitely make an educated guess based on what we have observed. So this is about is all about inductive reasoning. So wherein we see patterns, meaningful patterns. Unless there is any pattern, we will not come to any conclusions in case of inductive reasoning. Whereas in case of logical reasoning, it's very simple. We look at one statement, we look at another statement, and finally we come to some conclusion. Whereas here, it is not the case. We always look for some pattern. Likewise, even in problems, Sometimes you'll have to look at patterns and then come to conclusions. Okay, now that we have very briefly understood what is a logical reasoning, let us quickly go through a couple of problems and then wind up the session. So this is a problem based on logical reasoning itself. So let us see what is happening in this case. What is the angle between the two hands of a clock when the time shown by the clock is 6:30 p.m. they say? Once again, so if I have to draw a clock here, okay, let me just draw a clock. Let us assume that this is a clock and we have various hands, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay. I think, yeah. Maybe I'll just. Okay, it's a rough figure of clock. So now in this case, they say, what is the angle between the two hands of a clock when the time shown by the clock is 6:30 p.m.? So in this case, we'll have to look at the angle. 6:30, Nidhi says it is 0. Is it really the case? Let us do one thing. Let us look at the image of a clock which shows 6:30. Let me just make a quick search for that. Okay. Analog clock 6:30. So here is the image which we have of 6:30. Now also do you say it is the 0 angle? So the minute handle is on 6 and the hour handle is somewhere between 6 and 7. Can you now say it is still 0 degree? I hope you understood the question. The question here is very simple. What is the difference between these two hands, the minute hand and the hour hand? What is the angle? Okay. So again, we'll have to apply the logic here. You need not even worry about the mathematics. Of course, there is a formula for this. You can apply the formula and arrive at the answer. We'll come to that later. But even without applying the formula also, you can easily arrive at the answer. Let us see how we can do this. What about others? Only Nidhi has come out with the answer. No one else has attempted to answer this question. What might be the angle of difference between the minute hour and the hour hand? Okay. So in case of a circle, we have 360 degrees. Agree? Okay. So how many degrees do we have in case of circle? 360 degree. Half would be 180. Double of that would be 360 degrees. Now, let us do one thing. How many hour handles will be there? Again, I started with this. Okay, anyway. So there are 12 hour handles. So now how many degrees are there? 360 degrees. So do one thing, divide this 360 by 12 and tell me for each hour, what is the angle? So for first hour, what would be the angle? For second hour, what would be the angle? Do this math and tell me the answer. 360 divided by 12. So every time the hour handle moves, what is the number of degrees, or what is the degree which it travels, or what is the degree which it covers? That is very simple. All you have to do is 360 divided by 12. We get 30 degrees. Okay. Every time it covers 1 hour, it is traveling 30 degrees. Okay. So now let us go back to the what is that diagram here of that, wherein we say the minute handle is at 6 and the hour handle is between 7 and 6. You can notice here it is between 7 and 6. So how much has it traveled now? That is the question here. So let us do one thing. let us go back here. It has already traveled from 12 to 6. If it has traveled from 12 to 6, it will be 30 degrees. Okay, 30 degrees per 1 hour. So 30 degrees into 6 hours. So it has already traveled 180 degrees. Clear about that, I hope. Any doubts regarding this? Okay, this is with regard to the minute handle. Now, let us look at the hour handle. So, now, if you can closely observe, for every minute, we have a mark here. Okay, so how many minutes are there? We have 60 minutes. So 360 degree is there, and that has to be divided by 60 minutes. Okay, sorry, this is not about hour, this is about minutes. So 360 by 60, this will be 6 degrees. For every minute, it covers how many degrees? 6 minutes. Okay, this is the thing. Now, how many minutes has it covered so far? That is the question. In case of minutes, it has covered, they say, 30 minutes. If it is 30 minutes, it will be 30 into 6, 180 degrees. Whereas in case of hours, in fact, back then I said minutes, but it is in fact hours, it would be like this. For every hour, it is 30 degrees. But in case of this diagram, you can very clearly notice that the hour handle is between 6 and 7. That means it has crossed 6.5 hours. So let us go back and calculate that. 6 into 30, which will be 180, plus half. So how much is half of 30? That will be 15. So this is 195. So 195 minus 180 degree, that will be 15 degree. Once again, let us go back to the question and then we'll try to understand. What is the angle between the two hands of a clock when the time shown by the clock is 6:30 p.m.? So here we have to understand that there are two hands. Which are the two hands? That the hour hand and the minute hand. The minute hand is exactly at 6, whereas the hour hand is between 7 and 6. We know for a fact that the hour hand covers 30 degrees for every hour. And it is now between 6 and 7. So that means it is at 180 degree plus 15. So 195 degree. Whereas the minute handle is still at 180 degree, exactly half of the circle. So 195, that is hour handle, minus 180, which is the minute handle, we end up with 15 degrees. I hope this is clear. If you haven't understood, please do ask. Is it clear, guys? Okay. Am I audible? First of all, I hope I am audible. I hope there is no problem in the transmission. If someone can ping and confirm if I'm audible, that would be fine. I see there are 59 people on the channel right now watching this video. If you can confirm if I'm audible and if this is working, please do let me know so that I can proceed further. either I'm not getting the messages or... Okay, fine. Now I got the confirmation. There was some delay in case of messages. Okay, fine. Okay, fine then. Okay, what about the problem? Is it okay? Clear? Any doubts regarding the problem as to how we got 15 degrees? The answer is 15 degrees. By the way, if you look at the institute material, there is a reference material, they have 150 degrees. Let me just quickly go to the question. Here, we have 150 as the answer, which is wrong. It should have been 15. Okay, please do note this. It is on page number 174 in the reference material. The option given is 150 degrees, but 150 degrees cannot be the case at all practically. So the answer here is 15 degrees. Okay. Anyway, let's move on to the last problem, which is based on blood relations. This is again a topic as part of your syllabus. So let us read this problem and then finally try to understand what exactly is the relation between the two people. Now here the question goes like this. B is the brother of A. B is the brother of A. So if B is the brother of A, what does that mean? That means they're siblings. Okay. Now, okay, before we proceed further, Karan Yadav has a doubt. Sir, is it not 0? It is 0 degree. No, definitely not 0. Again, if you have to understand that, you'll have to look at this picture carefully. Do you think the difference between the minute handle and the hour handle is actually nothing in this case? So there is some difference, right? That difference is nothing but 15 degrees. The hour handle has actually crossed the halfway mark. Halfway mark would be 180 degrees. By how much has the hour handle crossed the halfway mark? It has crossed the halfway mark by 15 degrees. So that 15 degrees is the difference here. Okay, I hope it is clear, Karan. Anyway, moving on. Let us come back to this blood relations problem. B is the brother of A, whose only sister is the mother of C. Oh, this is very interesting now. B is the brother of A. That means they're siblings. Who are siblings now? A and B. A and B are siblings. Okay. But we know B is brother. Whose only sister is the mother of C. This is very interesting. Whose only sister, that is A's only sister, is the mother of C. Now, who is that sister? They have not given that. Okay. We'll do one thing. We'll name them Z. Let me just erase this. B and A are siblings. Okay. And they say whose only sister, again, whose sister? A's sister. We'll name them Z. Now, Z is the mother of C. Z is the mother and C is the daughter. Okay. So what about A and B? They are siblings. If A and B are siblings, okay, and A and Z are also siblings, because Z is anyway sister of A, that means B and Z are also siblings. Meaning B, A and Z are 3 children who are siblings here. Okay. Now, the question is very simple. D is maternal grandmother of C. Now, who is C now? C is the daughter of Z. Okay. Z is the sister of A and A's brother is B. We do not know the sex of A. It could be sister or brother. So based on the question and the choices, we'll see what is the case. Now, Z, A, B are 3 siblings and C is the daughter of Z and C's maternal grandmother is D. If that is the case, how is A related to D? Now, what are the options? It's very simple. Who is C? C is daughter of Z. And who is the grandmother of C? D. If C's grandmother is D, then definitely D is the mother of B, A, and Z. Okay, so therefore, what is the relationship between A and D? That of daughter. Definitely not daughter-in-law, definitely not aunt or nephew. I hope this is clear. If you have any doubts, please do ask. Okay, Shreya Verma says the gender of C is not determined. In fact, it is determined, no? Whose only sister is the mother of C. So they have very clearly mentioned C is a sister. Okay, let me explain this once again. A, where is this? Okay, fine. B is the brother of whom? A. Okay, so this is male, this is female. Now they say whose only sister is mother of C. Now they have mentioned whose only sister. Okay, let us call that sister Z. If A has only one sister, that is fine because the other sibling is a brother. Okay, so let me in fact write the names as someone has suggested. That is a very interesting suggestion. Let me write down the names. That way it is easier to understand. Let me call it Amar. Okay, this might be, what is it? B is the brother of A. Okay. This is Banu. This is Anita. Okay, so then Anita has only one sister, which might be Sunita, and Sunita has one child. They have not given what is the sex of C, so we will have to consider that as one child. It could be anyone. Let us say Pratap. Okay, now Pratap's maternal grandmother is let's say Indira. Now the question here is, what is the relationship between A and this maternal grandmother? That is Anita and Indira. That's it. Once again, Banu is the brother of Anita. And Anita has only one sister. Who is that? Sunita. And Sunita has only one child. It could be Pratap or whoever it is. So I have called it Pratap. And Pratap has a maternal grandmother. Maternal grandmother is grandmother from the mother's side. And who is that maternal grandmother here? Indira. Now the question is, what is the relationship between Indira and Anita? Of course, Anita is the daughter of Indira. Because Indira has 3 children. Who are those 3 children? Banu, who is the only male child of Indira, and Anita and Sunita, who are 2 sisters. Any doubts here? Okay. Here someone has a comment. If A is Ajay and B is Banu, B can be brother of A. Yeah, but look at the solutions. Do we have that as part of the solution here? Daughter-in-law, daughter, aunt, or nephew? Definitely not. So that won't be possible. If you think of A as male, then you will not get any of the possible solutions. As I said earlier, when it comes to logical reasoning, unless you look at the solutions, you will not be clear, very clear as to what is happening. So always look at the solutions first. Is the option given? In that case, it's easy to understand and crack it. A can be male also, but if A is male, can you arrive at any of these answers? That is my question. Can A be daughter-in-law, daughter, or aunt, or nephew? Definitely none of these. So therefore, we have to rule out that A is a male. I agree that A's sex is not given, but we will have to assume that it is female. Okay, Vishnu Priya Jawahar says, is there any shortcuts to understand blood relations? Of course, the shortcut here is, as someone suggested, you better name them. That is the best thing. So if you simply look at ABC, you can actually crack it, not a big deal. If you practice hard, it's easy. But think of your own family members. That way it's really very easy to crack. Okay. Think of all of your family members and just substitute the names in the problem with your family members. That way you can easily arrive at the answer. I hope it is clear. If you have any doubts, please do ask. Fine then. Okay. So, okay, Shanta Raghu says, can you please explain the clock problem once again? Okay, let me explain it for Shanta. Okay, Vishnu Priya Jawar says, how to remember legal terms and maxims because they're in Latin. Okay, that is a separate topic which will be covered by Alok sir on Sunday. So I am sure he will tell you how to remember all those Latin terms, Vishnu. And what else? Okay, Narayan Hari says, in the exam, will they ask questions based on reference material from something else? It could be something else as well, you never know. Let us assume that they will ask based on what is there in the reference material, but it will be useful if you practice other problems as well. So Nachiket Hegde says, when A is the uncle of C, how can his maternal grandmother become A's? No, it's not his grandmother. No, it is C's grandmother. Daughter-in-law is not an option. We selected daughter. The answer is daughter. Okay. Okay, Chandan Kumar is waking up now. Okay, what else? Yeah, with regard to clock problem, I will try to explain this easily. There was some confusion. Okay, Karthik says we have to choose option only or explain that question. No, all you have to do is just choose this right option. So that's why it is very important that you look at the options first and then try to crack the answer. Okay. So here, if we start with 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay. So this is the minute and this is the hour hand. Now, this entire clock is nothing but a zero or a circle. How many degrees will be there in circle? Just 360 degrees. How many subdivisions are there when it comes to hours? That is what you have to look at. How many subdivisions? There are 12 subdivisions. Okay, so 360 divided by 12 will be nothing but 30 degree. For every hour, the minute handle is covering, in fact, 30 degrees. So starting from 12, when it comes to 1, it will cover 30 degrees. When it comes to 2, it will cover 60 degrees. Likewise, when it comes to 6, it has already covered 180 degrees. Okay, so now the hour handle is between 7 and 6. Okay, if it is between 7 and 6, it has covered not full 30 degrees, but half of that, which is 15 degrees. So what is the total coverage of hour handle here? 180 degrees plus 15 degrees, which is 195 degrees. Now, what about the minute handle? You can see the minute handle is still stuck at 6. Okay, if that is the case, it has only covered 180 degrees. Okay, so therefore the difference between this is 15 degrees. Or if you want to look at it other way, you can look like this. So how many minutes are there? There are 60 minutes. How many degrees are there? There are 360 degrees. So if you divide this by this, you will get 6 degrees for every minute. So how many minutes have been covered so far? We have covered 30 minutes because minute handle is exactly at 6. So it has covered 180 degrees. So now the difference between these two is nothing but 50. Okay, Nachiket has a rejoinder. I'm saying that only how can C's grandma become A's daughter. No, it's not A's daughter. C's grandma's daughter is A. Nachiket, let me clear this. C's grandma is D and her daughter is A. Okay, Shakiba Fatima says, who is more prominent, Plato or Aristotle? I know it's something out of your class, but I came across this in the reference material. More prominent, again, we know about Aristotle only through Plato. So you decide. No, in fact, was it Socrates or Socrates comes somewhere in the picture? I'll have to just dig a little bit of history there. I would say there were logicians even before them. So I would say they were more prominent. Of course, Aristotle made it more famous. Okay. What else? Nachiket, I hope you have understood now. If you have any confusion, please do ask. Fine then. This is about the logical reasoning demo class. The free demo classes will continue till Sunday. Tomorrow also you have one, and then again on Sunday there is one more. So English and legal aptitude are the two more sessions which will be free. After that, only those who pay for the course, they will be able to access the foundation, that is the CSEET course. If you haven't already registered, please do register when it is available for a discounted price. Okay, so that is it. Hope to see you guys on the live sessions, which will start on 8th of June. So we will be starting from next week itself. If you haven't already registered, please do register. This offer is not there for a very long period. As long as it exists, please make use of it, and yeah, try to pass CSEET as soon as possible. Okay, Lakshmi Tiwari says, theory questions of logical reasoning is important or not? Again, it's very difficult to answer that question now, because for the first time we will be seeing what exactly the institute has in its mind, because we do not know how they are planning to ask. I hope they will stress more on practical part, so that will be better. You don't have to remember anything as such. All you have to do is apply logic. Okay, Vishnu says, in which part we need to concentrate more? Again, you cannot say this part is more important than the other, because there is no strict demarcation between logical reasoning, verbal reasoning, and non-verbal reasoning. If you look at the material, there are equal number of topics in all the three divisions. So I would say you study all the three for those 25 marks. Okay. So if you have any doubts, please do ask. Otherwise, thank you for attending the session. Hope to see you soon, guys. Until then, goodbye.